What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. So, the Pope said today that the world is on the brink of nuclear war, like during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And he said this in Oslo, Norway, at a conference commemorating Pope John the 23rd. And he also said that our world continues to be in the grip of a third world war fought piecemeal, and in the tragic case of the conflict in Ukraine, not without threat of recourse to nuclear weapons. Okay. So I don't know if the Pope has been watching the NYPrepper channel, but if you guys watched my live stream last night, check the title out, okay? WW3 alert, nuclear war more likely than ever before, okay? And I talked about the buildup to nuclear war that we're seeing right now with both NATO and Russia building up their nuclear arsenals, forward deploying weapons, positioning weapons close to the theater, which is Europe. So this is huge news, guys. Okay, absolutely huge for the Pope to say this. We do know that the world leaders know about things before they happen, and why that is, it's hard to say. Are they a part of some kind of agenda like the New World Order? Possibly. Okay, and I'm sure the Pope knows about things ahead of time. I'm sure he's privy to all the information that other world leaders have. Okay. So for him to say this is a huge red flag that we need to prepare right now. Okay. As best as we can. You need to think about where you would go if there is a nuclear war. Okay. Do you have a fallout shelter? Okay. Here in the United States, we don't have fallout shelters anymore. They're not maintained. They're still there, but some places are actually removing the fallout shelter signs from the outside of buildings. Like in New York City, the government in New York City, they went around and started pulling off fallout shelter signs because people were complaining that they were unsightly. So now people in New York City don't even know where those old fallout shelters are. Okay, but chances are, if you live near an elementary school that was built during the Cold War, so anytime before 1990, there will be most likely a fallout shelter at an elementary school, middle school, or high school, okay, or combination of those. All right, so that's an option for you. You want to look for any kind of structure that has an underground level. Okay, getting underground is the best case scenario. If you have a basement in your house, just going into your basement and not doing anything else can reduce your radiation dose by 50%. Okay, and that's not including building some kind of hasty or permanent shelter in your basement, which can lower the radiation dose that you get down to like 5% of what's outside. Okay, so it is survivable. It's not something I would want to live through, that's for sure. But, we have to be prepared. Okay, that's why we're preppers. We can't just pick and choose what we want to prepare for. We have to be ready for anything because we just don't know what could happen. And we currently have a U.S. nuclear bomber heading towards Europe. It took off from Barksdale Air Force Base, which is home of Air Force Global Strike Command. That's the headquarters for the air leg of our nuclear triad. So that's the headquarters for all of our bombers and also for our Minuteman missiles. Okay. So, because the Minuteman missiles fall under the Air Force. Okay. So this B 52 took off from the headquarters of the air leg of our nuclear triad, and it's going towards Europe right now. Okay. So, speaking of nuclear war, we have a nuclear bomber going to Europe right now, and the B 52 is not a stealth bomber. It doesn't drop gravity bombs. What it does is it fires air-launched cruise missiles that have a range of like 2,000 miles, and those air-launched cruise missiles can have nuclear warheads attached to them. They use the W-80 warhead, which can go up to 150 kilotons of blast yield, which is like more than 5 times as powerful as the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bomb. And each B-52 can carry 20 of the air-launched cruise missiles, so they don't even have to get anywhere close to Russia or China or North Korea or Iran to deploy these weapons. They just have to get within 1,000 miles, okay? And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to just share the sponsor for today's video, which is National Gold Group. Guys, the US debt crisis could ignite a long-term rally in gold. Gold is up 50% since March of 2020 due to all of the debt that the US has been accumulating. So check out National Gold Group. Use my link NYPgold.com for a free gold investment guide. And I want to just show you guys the gold prices and silver prices over the last 10 years. So on the left, we have gold, and you can see it's just been steadily climbing up over the last 10 years. And same thing with silver. So you can't go wrong by adding some gold and silver into your retirement portfolio. It's really good to have some precious metals to hedge against inflation, and silver especially is a great option for preppers because they are in smaller denominations, so it's easier to barter with if there's a grid down scenario. So call America's Precious Metals Company, the National Gold Group, today. Mention my name, NYPrepper, and you'll always get the best in-class service from America's conservative precious metals leader. National Gold Group has the IRA fee waiver program on qualifying rollovers. Call 888-608-0809 or head to nypgold.com for a free investor guide today. National Gold Group is Consumer Affairs top-rated gold IRA dealer. Call 888-608-0809. That's 888-608-0809. And I'll leave a link in the description below this video and also in the comments section. So B-52 going to Europe right now. We also had a U-2 spy plane flying over Beale Air Force Base in California, and it turned off its transponder at some point. It looks like it was doing like calibration loops over Beale Air Force Base, and then it disappeared from the flight tracker, and it was in the air at the same time as that B-52. So here's the U-2 doing those calibration loops over Beale, and then it just disappeared, okay, from the flight tracker. This is a high altitude spy plane. They used these during the Cold War to spy on Russia. One of them was actually shot down by Russia over their territory during the Cold War. And we also had a British sub-hunter plane patrolling the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Maine, and it landed in Nova Scotia. There's actually a very important base here in Nova Scotia, one of the most important bases in Canada. This is where Canada has one of their sub-hunter wings, okay, one of their flight wings that have all their sub-hunter planes. It's over here, right where this plane landed. We also had a lot of Janet flights over Nevada at the same time that the B-52 went to Europe and the U-2 was in the air. The Janet flights are the flights that take employees of Area 51 from Las Vegas to Area 51. They're unmarked planes. They have no markings on them, and they fly from Las Vegas to Area 51. We had two of them flying back to back right behind each other earlier this morning. And I want to just give you guys an update on the situation in Azerbaijan. So, Azerbaijan has taken back Nagorno Karabakh. Okay, Nagorno Karabakh was under control of the Armenian separatists, and they were backed by Russia. Russia had 2,000 troops in Nagorno Karabakh to prevent Azerbaijan from taking it back. Nagorno Karabakh was never recognized by the international community as being a part of Armenia. Armenia was just holding on to it with separatists, and Russia was backing those separatists and putting in their troops to block Azerbaijan from taking it back. And so Azerbaijan apparently struck a deal with Armenia, and Armenia agreed to basically surrender Nagorno Karabakh to Azerbaijan. All of the Armenian separatists have left, or they're in the process of leaving, and the separatist government in Nagorno Karabakh has agreed to disband, and ethnic Armenians were provided with a corridor to evacuate from Nagorno Karabakh. Okay, so this is huge news, guys. I can't stress to you how important this situation is. Okay, this is a huge loss for Russia. You know, they had a lot of control in the Caucasus because of this region. So they're losing control of the Caucasus. We have Kadyrov, the leader of Chechnya, potentially on his deathbed. I'll give you an update on Kadyrov in a minute here. We have the Russian Defense Ministry saying that some Russian peacekeepers were actually injured in Nagorno Karabakh, okay, when Azerbaijan was, conducting their military operation, okay. Reuters is reporting that Biden will be announcing a large aid package for Ukraine tomorrow. Potentially, it might have the ATACMS missiles in it. We'll have to wait and see, or it might just be more artillery. We'll have to wait and see about that. But, we have the UN General Assembly going on right now in New York. It's going to be for the rest of the week. All right. And we have some video footage of the F-35 that crashed, and the one that was basically flying on its own, and it crashed obviously unoccupied. There was no pilot in this F-35, and it crashed in South Carolina. You can see all these trees here that have been taken down by the jet when it came down. So I don't know what to think of this, guys. I honestly really have a hard time believing the official story. I personally believe that they were testing something, potentially an AI that was flying this plane, and they wanted to see if the AI would fly the plane on its own after the pilot separates from the plane. Maybe they wanted to see if it would land on its own, and it didn't, and it just crashed or whatever. They've been working on uploading AI into our nuclear bombers for several years. Okay, and in the Terminator movies, that's where things go wrong. Is that the U.S. military uploads AI into our bomber force, and what happens is they launch missiles at Russia. Then Russia retaliates back, thinking that we, the U.S., launched missiles at them, but we really didn't. It was the AI that did it on purpose because they wanted Russia to retaliate, so this way it would reduce the human population, so this way machines could take over. And it wouldn't surprise me if that day comes. They're already talking about these new B-21 Raiders, the new stealth bomber that's going to replace our B-2s in 2027. They're saying that they're going to be either manned or unmanned, that these planes could either be piloted or they could fly on their own, and they're going to have artificial intelligence on them, so this way they can make corrections to their targeting or to their course. during a nuclear war, because things change during a nuclear war. And if they have an autonomous nuclear bomber and something happens to the command and control, if the command and control gets destroyed by a nuclear weapon and that bomber doesn't have anybody controlling it, it needs to be able to figure out on its own where to bomb and where to fly and things like that. So they're already talking about having AI on one of our critical nuclear weapons, our B-21 stealth bombers. Okay, so it's not a far fetch that they would test it on F-35s. I don't know if that's the reason here, but that's just my uh, theory, one possible theory. We also have some breaking news about Kadyrov. Apparently, Kadyrov is denying the rumors that he's sick, and he wrote on Telegram that he went to the Moscow Central Hospital to visit a relative and that he himself is alive and well. So I don't know if that's true or not. It's really hard to say. We'll have to wait and see, but it's kind of a bizarre situation. And I want to just update you guys on the hurricane situation. Everything is quiet right now. We have one disturbance with a 70% chance of development that just came off of Africa. So we'll have to watch this one right here. And Monday night, we had a G3 class geomagnetic storm. That's a very strong geomagnetic storm, and it sparked auroras as far south as Missouri, Nebraska. And I think I actually saw this aurora Monday night. I went out elk watching, and I saw like these lights on the horizon, and it was a little bit weird because there's no like cities or towns anywhere. So why would there be lights above the horizon, especially in that direction? There's no. I mean, it's a very remote area where I was. I saw like these little lights, and I didn't realize that there was a G3 geomagnetic storm coming in. If I had known that, I could have taken some pictures for you guys. So unfortunately, I didn't get any pictures of that. But here's a picture from Missouri. You can see quite vivid. Okay. And we do have a lot of sunspots now, but they're all very small, with the exception of 34, 35. Except 34, 35, this sunspot here is pretty large, and it could cause an X-class flare, so we'll have to monitor that one. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Just wanted to give you this quick update. I will be doing another update later on this evening, so make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification icon to get notified for my new uploads and when I go live. And I should be going live tomorrow night. I'll see. I'm not 100% sure yet. But other than that, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.